Good afternoon, I'm Andrew Weisheit, and I'm honored to be here today. It's a privilege to share the stage with excellent physicians and other brave people with great success stories. I appreciate being asked to speak from the perspective of a success story, although I must say, I still do think of my diet and my pursuit of optimum health as a work in progress. Perhaps we all do. A quote from the documentary, Carb Loaded. For 33 years, I followed the prudent diet and believed that carbohydrates were crucial for good health. And I wrote a book which was widely read and that promoted these very high carbohydrate diets. And that's what I did when I was running competitively. And then I suddenly had this epiphanous moment. I realized I was getting sicker and sicker eating these high carbohydrate diets. I had to understand what was going wrong and then found that when I reduced my carbohydrates to almost absent, I regained my health that I had lost 20 or 30 years before. What I also learned is that as a medical practitioner, I have an ethical responsibility if I made an error to say, I'm sorry, I made an error. And that's what I did. In December of 2010, I came out and said that what I had said before was completely wrong, and that those who had copies of Lore of Running needed to tear out the nutrition section, and we needed to start all over again. Professor Timothy Noakes, mentioned before, is Emeritus Professor of Exercise Science and Sports Medicine at the University of Cape Town, South Africa. He wrote a book that many consider to be the Bible of endurance running. After more than 30 years of recommending low-fat diets for optimum health and performance, he changed his recommendations after losing weight and improving his own health on a low-carb diet. Why did Professor Noakes decide to try a diet completely opposite of the one he had recommended for decades? Because he read the book, The New Atkins for a New You, by Drs. Westman, Volek, and Finney. And the diet they recommended worked. When I first heard this quote, it grabbed my attention because the experience Professor Noakes had had seemed to match my experience, though for me in a shorter time frame, almost exactly. I'm 32 years old now, and when I was younger, junior high, high school aged, I was thin and active. I thought my diet was healthy because it was low in fat. And yet, as I got older, I gained weight and my health deteriorated, until finally I reached a point where I was noticeably overweight, my health was poor, and I had no idea what to do about it. Trying to lose weight and improve my health with exercise was very uncomfortable, even painful at times, was unbearably fatiguing, and was ineffective. And this sadly seems to be the fate of many adults these days. Though there were warning signs for me, even in high school, my health really became noticeably bad when I entered undergraduate college in 2005. I had increasing fatigue and worsening digestive issues. My problems became even more noticeable when I entered graduate school in 2009. In my 2 years of graduate school, I gained 50 pounds and developed constant fatigue and anxiety. At the time, I thought, this is temporary, school is a busy time, I'll graduate, get a job, my schedule will calm down, and all of my problems will go away. That is not what happened. In 2011, I moved back to Chicago, started working. From 2011 to 2015, I saw a doctor annually, I had yearly physical exams, yearly blood tests. I was overweight, constantly fatigued, had joint pain, tingling and numbness in my hands, periods of insomnia, periods of hypersomnia, gallbladder pain, and worsening anxiety. Though my body had become a complete metabolic disaster, all of my numbers on my blood tests were normal, or within range. Though my health was terrible, I was never diagnosed with any diseases. When I finally complained to a doctor in 2016 that I felt my health was terrible and I feared that I would never improve, I was told that my issues were probably just emotional and that I should take a vacation. If the problem persisted, my doctor recommended I either see a therapist or take prescription anti-anxiety medications. I was not opposed to seeing a therapist, but I feared that if I started taking anxiety medications, I'd be on them forever, and I would never find the root cause of my problems. So, in 2016, I tried to take matters into my own hands. I suspected all along that nutrition could be the problem. I had tried various diets over the years and taken many dietary supplements, but none seemed to help. I had tried eating more fruits, more vegetables, nuts and seeds, oils, superfoods, smoothies, protein shakes, fiber, etc. But all of that just seemed to waste time and money, and my health never improved. I considered a different approach: elimination as opposed to addition. Perhaps I was eating too many different things as opposed to not enough. I thought maybe if I cut my diet down to only the things I need, I might get lucky and eliminate whatever it was that was bothering me. At that point, I only owned one book about nutrition. I now own several, a whole collection on my phone. That book was The Blood Sugar Solution by Dr. Mark Hyman. Though I had read parts of the book in 2011 and I enjoyed some of the recipes, I didn't follow through long-term with the diet it recommended because I found the meal recipes to be too complicated and too expensive. However, the book did make very many important health points, and it did list which nutrients are essential for humans to consume in order to survive. Dr. Hyman discussed 5 types of essential nutrients, things that we have to eat and that our bodies can't make on their own. Water. Clearly, we can't make our own water. Fat. I was surprised by this. I hadn't known previously that fat was essential. I had always thought that fat was an unavoidable evil of both plant and animal foods. Protein. Duh. Vitamins. Sure. And minerals. Of course. 5. But what about carbs, I wondered? Don't we need those? Won't my blood sugar go to 0 and kill me if I don't eat some carbohydrate? Apparently not. Dr. Hyman said, quote, "You may not realize this, but there are no essential carbohydrates. There are essential fats and essential proteins, but if you never had any carbohydrates again, you would survive." I was shocked. I now realized that the high-carb foods that had been staples of my diet for my whole life, bread, cereal, grains, juices, fruit, were not only completely unnecessary, but very harmful. The only question that remained in my mind was how to eliminate carbs quickly, safely, and successfully. So, I started doing internet searches for low-carb info. I read many articles and watched many videos about diets on the low-carb end of the spectrum: keto, paleo, Banting, Atkins, etc. Finally, I came across a very interesting Facebook group called Zeroing In on Health that promoted a diet called Zero Carb. I had never heard of such a thing. Exactly. That's fine. That's fine. You're good. No, it's good. Responses. Their recommendation was to eliminate carbs almost entirely by eliminating all plant foods from the diet. No fruit, no veggies, no grains, ever. They claimed that this was not only safe but optimal for human health, and they referenced many human populations in the past who had done just this, namely the Inuit, the Maasai, and the Plains Indians, and achieved excellent health. Even Dr. Hyman's book mentioned that many tribes in the past ate mostly meat, yet he theorized that they overcame potential nutrient deficiencies by eating organ meats and bone marrow as well. I was intrigued by the zero-carb idea, but it seemed extreme and potentially dangerous to me, so I put it... How am I doing on time?
Yeah, we're about ready. Go
About that time?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm on the last page. I'm on the last page. How can I shorten this just a little bit? Give me a second. Okay, so I'll jump through. So basically in 2016, I tried various levels of low carb with a lot of success, but wasn't strict enough. So, where's my 20? All right. Jump ahead just a little bit here to... So in 2017, I decided to give the zero carb idea a shot. I dove into a plant-free diet experiment. I thought I'd go for 30 days without plants, and then 90 days if all seemed well, and reassess from there. Thank you. Thank you very much. In 3 months of eating only meat and eggs and drinking only coffee and water, I lost 20 pounds with almost no exercise. Now, 2.5 years later, I've lost 40 pounds and have no noticeable health issues. I started weightlifting 6 months ago, and that's going great. At first, I really didn't want to talk about my new diet, and I usually dodged the question when asked. I was scared to admit the truth for people thinking I was crazy or a liar. But now when people ask, I tell them the truth. I think it's irresponsible not to. For the past 2.5 years, I've tried to eat only meat and avoid plants. And so far, I've experienced numerous benefits and noticed no negative side effects. The exceptions being, I do drink coffee daily and I have a little wine here and there. Last paragraph, I'm almost there. The best part is, since I decided to cut carbs and improve my health, I've had the opportunity to share this miracle of low carb with many other people, friends, family, co-workers. Currently, I work at a manufacturing company in the western suburbs. In the summer of 2017, the owner of our company approached me for advice because he wanted to start a wellness program. At our company, we now bring in low-carb lunches once a month for free. Dr. Perella comes and speaks to our employees and their families once a year. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. She does a good job. She makes this look so easy. I'm like kind of nervous. No. And we've handed out over 100 free copies of Gary Taub's book, Why We Get Fat. Okay, jump ahead. The bottom line is this: never give up. Just by refusing to settle for poor health and do my own research, I went from being a chronically ill person who knew nothing about science or health to an apparently well person who now enjoys reading about nutrition. And just by sharing my story, I've had the opportunity to help my family and my coworkers. People across this country and around the world are suffering as a result of bad health advice. This can only be fixed with good science and honest inquiry. Food, drug, and other health companies should be held responsible for their actions, and consumers of food, medicine, and health advice must demand good service. Thank you. So, don't lose hope. Keep searching, keep studying, keep trying, keep asking questions, do your part where and when you can, tell your story and be honest, because in paradise, everyone speaks the truth. Thank you.